Yeah, and you took the point right out of my mouth. For me,
hold on a second, because to emphasize my point, and you're gonna have to edit this, I'm gonna zip my fly because my points become a lot more powerful.
Okay, good.
You may not even edit this shit because you're a right bastard. But
you took the point right out of my mouth. That didn't sound right. I don't like the way that sounded.
That's nasty.
But
especially since I just zipped my fucking fly.
Yeah, you know, it just no. That was the point I was trying to make. Is football now in the U.S. we have this habit of ignoring soccer, right? We feel
you're gonna start there.
Yeah, we feel like we just a sidebar because we feel like the four major sports that we call here, you know, soccer, NFL, NBA, the basketball, football, baseball, and hockey. For some fucking odd reason.
Look, I don't play hockey nor watch it.
The league is almost non-existent at this point. But no, it was almost like not. They've had seasons where they almost didn't put the season out because it's so barely a business. But we have this habit of acting like those are the only sports that exist. With that being said, soccer might be the most team-oriented sport there is, if not football. All right, so it's arguably either or in my opinion. But we're gonna go with football for the sake of this conversation. So like you, I think that football is the most teamwork specific oriented sport that nothing can happen. Joe Montana, Tom Brady, whoever, Aaron Rodgers, Y.A. Tittle, okay? Nothing can happen. These guys can do nothing without the work of every single man on that field. To a man. Every single man has to do his job. Because even the guy who's not in the play and who's running a route is performing a function by drawing defense and etc. etc.
have to account for it.
So everybody's performing a function, and all those functions have to be met in order for success to happen on any given play. Right? So how Tom Brady gets elevated, and I guess the point I'm making is we place too much importance on Super Bowls, on championships, and I think this goes for most sports, not just football. It goes for most sports. Now basketball is different, baseball is different because basketball, one man can dominate and can carry a team.
Individualistic.
Okay, baseball is very much an individual performance game, right? The pitchers, the batters, and those are the stats that matter for the most part. Fielding is
fielding is viciously important.
Of course, but it's not something that's counted on so heavily as far as stats and as far as who's the best. You look at who are the best batters or who are the best pitchers, right? That's kind of the stuff that stands out, right? In the way that in football is who is the best. The skill positions, quote unquote, are what kind of tend to stand out, right? But everybody has to do their job in order for any player to have any success. So if you ask me, I don't think Tom Brady is even the best quarterback playing now. Right? So I don't know how they come because he's been to 6 Super Bowls. That is more of a product of the team as a whole, and probably due large part to Belichick more than anybody else, because it's not like the Patriots have been swamped with stars at every position, right? So it's more of a team effort than anything else. How do they come out? I mean, it's ridiculous to me that Tom Brady gets put on this pedestal because he's been to 6 Super Bowls.
Look, I think that he is one of the better quarterbacks that's ever played the game. I'll go as far as to say that without saying that he's the best, now or ever.
Do you feel that we put too much importance on championships?
I think that I think that the NFL, I think that sports generally does. And I think that definitely is the case when it comes to the NFL. Because people always say, well, greatness is measured by championships. All right, and which
I think is bullshit.
Which you think is bullshit, and I think that I'm willing to agree with that.
Let me go over a couple of things interesting things that I found.
Before you do it, just like but like you said, a lot of things come into play. It becomes a matter of the teammates. It becomes a matter of the coaches. It becomes a matter of the
but it's a fluke. No, listen, and that's my point. Like, how dare they bring up Tom Brady in a conversation of the best of all time? When honestly, I feel like is Tom Brady really that accurate of a passer? Is he really that skilled?
You know what?
We're talking about a man. We're talking about a team that basically dinks and dunks its way down the field. How many Tom Brady highlights do you ever see? Do you ever see Tom Brady heaving something 60 yards in the air?
I think that kind of speaks to Belichick's genius. And you know what? I was at a bar watching the game once, and there was this.
He's the most uninspiring, uneventful quarterback to watch ever.
All right, look. I was at a bar once.
He's Alex Smith. If Alex Smith had Belichick behind him, Alex Smith might beat Tom Brady.
I was gonna say, I was at a bar once and we were watching a Monday night game, and I came across this older guy, and I don't even think the Patriots were playing, but Brady's name came up because he was a New England guy. I was like, oh, what do you think of Brady? And he kind of had this smirk on his face, and I'm just like, for all that Brady done for the franchise, for all that he's accomplished, it's like and he basically pointed out the same thing as like, you know what? He's solid for what he can do, was his point, and that there are certain balls that he can't make.
Yeah, he's not a real super talented guy. It's not. I mean,
hey, but there's something to be said. There's something to be said for executing what you can do. I kind of like. I look at Montana in that way, which we might find ourselves getting into. Foreshadowing. But there are certain balls that Montana can't make that, say, a more talented, like a more physically talented quarterback can, that Elway could probably make, or Marino could probably make. But he's a masterful executor. Could we give Brady that much? I mean look, he deserves. Look, I mean, most of his career, he haven't had really a Pro Bowl receiver. He deserves some credit for that, man. He dealt with decent receivers like Givens, your David Givens, your Troy Browns, Edelman, and what's the other Amendola. They're good. They're solid guys, but they're average guys compared to the star.
Here's the key.
And what did he do the one time he had with Randy Moss? What did he do? He went berserk.
But here's the key and your point almost backfires in a way, because Tom Brady and by default, because if you want to ask me, the answer is really Belichick, makes guys like Edelman and Amendola into fucking prime threats, because they don't throw outside. They don't throw to the outside receivers. New England plays inside the numbers. They play slot receivers. They play tight ends. They dink and dunk. They do 7, 8, 10, 12, 15-yard passes. And that's about it.
Sure, but you know what, though?
You never see him taking Aaron Rodgers type shots to the outside. You never see him doing Andrew Luck, just straight arm bombs.
But there's a lot going on in that, in between the numbers. There's a lot of bodies there, and you still have to execute. You still have to be accurate enough, if not pinpoint. You still have to be accurate enough to execute those plays. You're going to tell me that, okay, if you replace Brady with, say, I don't know,
Chad Pennington.
Well, I think Pennington could pull it off. God, his arm was weak. But no, okay. But if you were to replace Tom Brady with, say, Jamarcus Russell, who's not even in the league, does he enjoy the same success?
Well, you can't.
It's extreme, but you need to have a given football IQ to go out there and execute.
And don't get me wrong, I don't say Brady sucks.
I'm just saying don't take two. I'm saying I'm not calling him the best quarterback ever, but I am going to go on the other side of the coin and say don't take too much away from him.
Here's something I want to point out to you. Some interesting stuff that I pulled up. Tell me what you think of these guys. All right, and when I'm done, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Warren Moon, Fran Tarkenton, Vinny Testaverde, Boomer Esiason, Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb.
The next Marino almost redefined the game. Like the fact that the NFL became a passing league.
Dude,
you can make the argument that it started with him.
Dan Marino might be the best quarterback of all time. He's right up there. If you ask me, okay, he played in Miami for Christ's sake.
He always played with a below average defense. Played almost never with a running game. You can make the argument if Dan Marino got his Terrell Davis like Elway did, that he would have at least.
Elway almost didn't win any Super Bowls.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for Terrell Davis, Elway would be on this list. And Elway, another quarterback better than Tom Brady.
Oh yes, and you know what? If people who might hear this, they might argue. There's no debate in my mind. Like if somebody stuck a gun in my face and said, "Okay, who's your best quarterback ever?" It's Elway.
Could be.
Because I have this. My argument is always, what has been asked of you as a quarterback, and were you able to do more with less? You know, were you able to do it without star-studded cast? This is why I give Montana a lot of credit, because, you know, before Rice and Taylor and Brent Jones and Roger Craig, he won 2 Super Bowls with an entirely different staff, where his best receiver was Dwight Clark. You can't knock the man, but like, look, you know, he might not be able to make deep passes, but like, very efficient.
All right, let's go back to this.
He persevered through that to be one of the most prolific passers that ever played this game.
Who do you think is the career leader for passing yards?
I don't have to think. I know it's Favre, isn't it?
It's Favre. Okay. Who's second?
Right now, it's Peyton.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Who's third?
Third would be. Is it still Marino?
It's Marino. Tom Brady is 5th on that list. Okay? And when I say 5th...
Yeah, but you know what?
When I say 5th, he's a full 3,000 yards behind Drew Brees, who's 4th. He's about 8,000 yards behind Marino. He's about 16,000 yards behind Peyton. And almost 20,000 yards behind Brett Favre. All right? Now, granted, he does have more passing yards than John Elway, Warren Moon, Fran Tarkenton, Vinny.
Yeah, but what does that mean? See, I don't buy into that garbage. That's why I don't.
No, but it's not garbage.
No, I'm not minimizing what's on that piece of paper, but it's more of a passing league.
Absolutely, and which is why it makes the John Elways, the Warren Moons, the Vinny Testaverdes, and God, who knew, Drew Bledsoe is 10th on the list.
Well, they shaped the offense around it, so he was chucking a lot in the 90s.
It makes it even more because they were not in a pass first league, right? Brett Favre and Dan Marino. We're talking about the
they weren't in a pass first league, but they were in a pass first offense, which they deserve. Which they deserve a lot of credit for, because
and they were playing against defenses who weren't as handcuffed as they are now. Right? I mean, cornerbacks could basically mug you all the way down the line. Down the sidelines.
Well, they can mug you hard for about 5 to 7 yards.
Nowadays, you can't even touch a guy. All right. All-time passing touchdown leader, Peyton Manning. 2nd, Brett Favre. 3rd, Dan Marino. Are we seeing a pattern here?
Well, yeah.
Tom Brady again is 5th. Drew Brees again is 4th. And again, the next guys down the line are all the same. Fran Tarkenton, John Elway, Warren Moon, Vinny Testaverde. The only one that's not there is Bledsoe, who is replaced by Johnny Unitas. Okay? But we're talking about...
Who is probably number 2 all time in my book.
We're talking about Tom Brady is a full 140 touchdowns behind Peyton Manning. Okay? So, again, is he a good quarterback? Yes. Is the system built around his strengths? I would say it is.
No, which is good coaching too, because you want to be able to look, if you're a coach and I'm your short black left-handed quarterback, yeah, you're gonna shape your offense based on what I'm capable of doing with the football. You're not gonna go out there and have to do some shit you can't. Just scramble, nigga. That's it. If you don't see anything, just make tracks, homie. That's it.
Find me a running back, please. Here's another quarterback that's not on any of these lists who might be better than Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers.
You know, he came up in a different segment.
Yeah.
That we did.
And because I'm a fan. I think Phillip Rivers is...
He's a gutsy... He's a hard there. Gutsy quarterback.
He had an off year, a little bit of an off year, but...
You think so? I think the injury, he was on his way to... He had like MVP numbers the first half of the year.
But Phillip Rivers is a guy that's should be in the top quarterback conversation every time.
Top in the league or top ever?
Nah, I don't know about ever, but in the league.
Well, for him not having playoff success, again, the measurement is championships. Were you able to get to the big game? But
this is my problem. This is my problem.
I know
it should not be championship. My point is too much importance being placed on the championships. That's my belief. That's my point. To that point, and I wanted to bring this up because I just found, because we're both NBA fans, right? I mean, we're talking football today, but we're both NBA fans. I thought it was interesting that we only seem to talk about the championships when we're talking about the star players. We don't ever seem to, like all of a sudden, Michael Jordan has 6 championships, right?
Okay.
Scottie Pippen has 6 championships. And surprisingly enough,
no other Bulls teammate.
No other Bulls teammate was with Jordan for all 6 rings, right?
Was it 3 at the most?
3 at the most. The list of 3 championship rings on the Bulls includes the likes of Stacey King, Will Perdue, Scott Williams, Randy Brown, Judd Buechler, Jason Caffey, Ron Harper.
Why did you start?
Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley, Dickie Simpkins. All right, Bill Wennington, my favorite, and not even on that
Bill
list.
Wennington wasn't bad at St. John's.
Cliff Livingston. All right. Now, Cliff Livingston only had 2. So here's my thing: you can't put that much importance on rings. B.J. Armstrong has 3 championships. Is he Hall of Fame material?
But now you're talking about...
Is he an all-time great?
But now you're talking about an entirely different sport, though.
But what I'm talking about is the importance we place on the championships and how come it's only part of the conversation when we're talking about certain guys. Why is it Tom Brady has been to 4 Super Bowls and all of a sudden we say, well, that puts him in the greatest of all time category.
You know what? Because he's the quarterback.
We don't say...
He's the quarterback, and the quarterback...
We don't say Judd Buechler has 3 championships. Why is he not the greatest of all time?
Because we're talking about the quarterback position, and the quarterback position is the most important position.
Robert Horry has 7 rings.
The quarterback position is the most important position in football, okay? Everything starts and finishes. Even if you're just asking your quarterback to throw the ball 18 times in a game, he's there to engineer the offense. If he's a dumb fuck, your offense is going nowhere. Even if your offensive line is lights out, even if you have a fairly good or an all-star running back, if you were alive, ask Walter Payton. If you don't have somebody that's got a fucking solid head behind center, your offense is going nowhere. Now, if you take an average quarterback, like let's say a Troy Aikman, perfect example. If you look up Troy Aikman's stats right now, you'll see that he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you'll spit at the fucking screen because his numbers are so pedestrian. But nobody was asking Aikman to throw the ball 40 times a game. You've got Emmett, you've got a Hall of Fame running back, you've got a Hall of Fame line. Basically, we're gonna ask you to make a couple of efficient passes and don't fuck up.
And this is my point. You got guys who are living off the efforts of a team effort, and this goes to my conclusion that Tom Brady does not belong in the greatest of all time conversation for that simple fact. You've got a guy who is maybe slightly above average, and he's living off the team effort and coaching effort.
Maybe, but I think that you're minimizing like how important it is to execute. Because there's a lot of guys out there that can't execute consistently that were really, really gifted. There's a lot of Jeff Georges out there that didn't suck but couldn't execute consistently enough to win games on a regular basis. There's a lot of Elvis Gerbacks out there. You know how many times I would watch Elvis Gerback, fucking quarterback for the Niners, and he'll have a great game for 2.5, 3 quarters, but you're just waiting for it. You're just sitting there like, oh, don't worry, he's gonna fuck up in some way or whatever. And sure enough, he would. You got a lot of guys like that. Jim Everett comes to mind. Really good quarterback, but you know what? If you could just sack him one or two times, completely different quarterback. Hell, even Payne, some people might think is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he's up there.
Get to him a couple of times, completely different quarterback. I mean, the last Super Bowl is a perfect example. Yeah. If you can get to him, changes the dynamic of the whole fucking game. You take a look at that, even Brady, people think he's the best of all time. Okay, What does he do when shit gets thick? You know, undefeated season on the line. Giant defense goes out there. The front four have the fucking game of their lives. Tuck's out there with his head on fire. If it was Tecmo Bowl, if it was Tecmo Super Bowl, the front four were all in excellent, like, you know, they were all in excellent condition, and like, you know, like offensive linemen were just bouncing off of them and shit like that. And Brady didn't have an answer. But at the same time, I gotta say, you know what, the quarterback position is the most important position, and whether you're asking your quarterback to throw 50 times, or if you're asking him to throw 25 times, you want to do it in an efficient way. And more often than not, Brady, you know, he's been able to do that.
So, in conclusion, do you feel Tom Brady deserves to be in the greatest of all time conversation?
Look, man's been to what now? This is his 7th Super Bowl?
6.
No, this will be his 7th.
This is his 6th.
No,
This is his 6th.
This is his 6th.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. 6 Super Bowls, man. You can't really argue. That earns you, at the very least, it earns you right to be in the conversation. I don't think that when you're at that sports bar, I don't think that a lot of people will end up saying, say for a couple of New Englanders, I don't think that a lot of people will end up saying that.
So that just the fact that you've been to the Super Bowls a number of times makes you the greatest.
Well, you know what though, you kept your mistakes to a minimum, and you were the guy that engineered that offense. It counts for something. Not every quarterback can do that. A lot of quarterbacks buckle. You can shake your head at it all you want. A lot of quarterbacks buckle when the shit gets thick, when the stakes are at their highest. A lot of them buckle.
Product of a system.
Even, maybe so. All I know is that, look, I watched Moore and Moon be up 35-3 against the Bills. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, if he were to be in the greatest conversation, he finds a way to make sure that game, even though they're coming back.
See, isn't that on the defense, though? The Moore and Moon can't play defense.
Oh, this is true. But you know what, though?
This is my point.
You're the engineer of that offense.
But this is my point. Warren Moon engineered the fuck out of that offense if he had them up 35-3.
Yeah, but you know,
he's done his job. Now, this is my point. The Warren Moons, the Dan Marinos of the world, the Boomer Esiasons of the world, these people suffered from bad teams in general. You're making my point for me.
That 93 Oilers team should have made it the guy that...
You're making my point for me. These are guys who are not in higher places in the quarterback conversation because their teams were not up to snuff. Tom Brady is in a higher place than he deserves because his team executes better than he would with a lesser team.
True, I'm willing to agree with you.
I'm not saying he doesn't contribute.
I agree with you.
I'm not saying he doesn't contribute.
But he still has to...
Hey, Tino. You gotta tell those people to hit the subscribe button. My man. Or else you don't eat. Hit the subscribe button, people. Don't you have a heart? Please, save this guy. I know. I love you too. Okay, tongue. Yeah, that's great. Where are you going?